All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks so much for being here. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Happy Saturday. Hope folks didn't get too drunk last night. I hope you're feeling okay today if you did. And if you've got some stuff to do in the weekend, good luck for productivity. And if you are resting, get some rest. I am your nootropics wizard, Ryan Michael Bell, and we're going to talk about lion's mane mushroom. And this has come at the request of many people, but finally it was timely for me because I've been bringing lion's mane back into the picture and then cycling off of destimulating acutely noticeable nootropic compounds just to sort of identify whether I've got some verbal recall or some memory benefits from taking lion's mane. The bottom line is this. Lion's mane stimulates a particular extraction of lion's mane. There's two ways to extract it as far as I can tell, and that's through water or through ethanol. And the ethanol extraction of lion's mane does in fact, I mean, there's chemical compounds of it, diterpenoids, that stimulate the expression of nerve growth factor. Nerve growth factor is a neurotrophic factor your brain needs, particularly for the repair and the growth of neurons, right, and the functionality of neurons. So I'm going to get to that in just a second. Let's do a minute of product pro, then we're going to jump into the mighty lion's mane. Okay, right now, this weekend, the Cortex stack, our powerful pre-made stack, still $29.99. Okay, get the Cortex stack at livecortex.com. Basically, we made it for entrepreneurs. I mean, that was initially what was going on. We made it for business people. We're targeting entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley because they need brain performance for 18 hours a day. But then we realized that basically everybody loves it. You've got certain nootropics that are just for, okay, this one cranks up the gears and kind of just gets you going. This one might turn on verbal fluency particularly or working memory, and this one might be like everything. Cortex is an everything nootropic stack. Get it at livecortex.com. Link is in the description below. Hey, if you want access to a bunch, hundreds of stacks, nootropic stacks, very complex, advanced nootropic stacks that you can try that are advanced and they target very particular brain states. I mean, this is advanced level nootropic stuff. We got 3 digital guides, new pep pro stack list, bunch of new pep stacks, Racetam God Guide, bunch of Racetam stacks, Smarter, Better, Faster, bunch of everything stacks. Those are digital. Get them at livecortex.com. Lastly, we do Nootropics Consulting. It's a 40-minute call with me, 15 additional email correspondences. We've got different levels. A $65 package to get you just that. We've got $1,000 packages for executives and business people. Get all that stuff at livecortex.com. So lion's mane is a mushroom, putting it simply, it's just a mushroom, and there's chemical compounds in lion's mane mushroom, if it's extracted through ethanol, that basically stimulate neurotrophic factors, particularly nerve growth factor. This has been demonstrated in very many studies. If you want to, have one for reference, there's one called nerve growth factor inducing activity of Hericium arenaceus in 1321N1 human astrocytoma cells. Where it basically goes to talk about these diterpenoids and how they stimulate nerve growth factor in the brain. And so, this study is really a great example. I'll read you a little bit from the abstract. They basically say, look, in the present study, we firstly examined the effects of ethanol extracts of 4 edible mushrooms, and then they've got some other mushrooms, and then they've got Yamabushitake, which is the technical nomenclature for the lion's mane mushroom, which the sort of general nomenclature is Hericium arenaceus. And the interesting thing about this study is they actually did it in vivo too. So they did it, in vitro, which is not with like a human or not with an animal, and then they did it in vivo, which means with an animal, and typically it's a mouse or rat. And they said, furthermore, we examined the efficacy of H. arenaceus in vivo. DDY mice given 5% H. arenaceus dry powder for 7 days showed an increase in the level of nerve growth factor mRNA expression in the hippocampus. This is pretty significant. I mean, that's why lion's mane is seen as like the significant thing. Basically, what that's translating to is increasing nerve growth factor, this neurotrophic factor for neuronal growth and cellular functionality and repair in a memory-centric region of the brain called the hippocampus. That's pretty significant right there. And there's also a pathway called the JNK pathway, which basically gets activated and then stimulates nerve growth synthesis via the lion's mane mushroom. Okay, so that's essentially the chemical nature of it. That's the studied science behind how it improves nerve growth factor. And all things considered, it does that. So the dose range on lion's mane, before we get into my experiences with it, is on the very low end 300 milligrams of the actual mushroom extract to, on the very high end, 4,000 milligrams. Most supplements are right in the range of 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of lion's mane mushroom. And so let me just talk about what I did in the past and what I'm doing now. I was taking 1,000 milligrams of lion's mane mushroom. I did it for 30 or so days. Now, in that 30 days, I made the mistake of taking a bunch of other nootropic compounds at the same time. So I didn't really document it all that well. I noticed that there weren't many acute effects with it. I didn't notice any stimulation or any sort of thing. It was difficult to tell because I was taking Noopept. I was still formulating the Cortex stack at that time, so I had just a bunch of different nootropics in my brain, so that really wasn't a good experiment. But this time around, experimenting with lion's mane, I've been cycling off of everything and then just taking lion's mane and then drinking coffee or something. And what I've noticed, and by the way, I'm taking 1,000 milligrams a day. What I've noticed in taking lion's mane is that, again, no acute effects, nothing stimulatory, nothing overtly noticeable in terms of excitatory, what you might consider excitatory neurotransmission, just stuff like functioning really quickly. But what I would say is that definitely my capacity to stay on task, my capacity to retrieve things from my long-term memory, my capacity to hold things in my current working memory, and even my I wouldn't call this verbal fluency, because there's a difference between verbal recall, in my opinion, and verbal fluency. Verbal fluency is like the capacity to just sort of, without like having gaps in your sentences, like formulate sentences quickly and smoothly and cohesively. But verbal recall is essentially the capacity to, when you need it, to just break out the big guns of your vocabulary. To break out the articulation to really, really thoroughly convey something to somebody when you're having a conversation, right? Fluency might be speed with which you can deliver all the stuff you can recall, and recall is the stuff you might go and recall in your brain when you're having a conversation. So I've noticed my verbal recall is much better, much better, right? And that's hard to do. I've been taking nootropics for a long time. I've improved all these areas, but the lion's mane seems to make my verbal recall just much better. So there's definitely something very powerful to this. Whether or not this is stimulating nerve growth factor in my hippocampus or elsewhere is I guess up in the air, but looking at what it does to rats, it seems pretty plausible that that's the case. And that's essentially the extent of it. Moving forward, I think one of the things that we're gonna do is bring the lion's mane mushroom stacks with lion's mane, combining it with other nerve growth factor stimulating things like Noopept, and then adding that as an addition to some of our digital downloadable guides, the Smarter, Better, Faster guide, the Noopept Pro Stack List, and the Racetam God Guide. Because now I'm going to bring lion's mane in and start to stack it with Racetams and Noopept and all that stuff, and I'll be talking about that stuff in videos moving forward. Thanks so much for being with me. Thanks so much for watching. Stick around for a minute or two. We're going to talk about the Cortex Stack, our 3 digital guides to give you an idea of what you're going to get if you want to get them. The weekend is a great time to get this stuff because it's on sale, first of all, and second of all, you get Cortex, you'll have it shipped to you ASAP this week. If you get these digital guides, you can download them today and now and get access to all the stacks and learn all these crazy stacks and see what advanced nootropic stacks actually look like. Anyway, I'm so pumped about that stuff. I could talk forever. Video coming. Thanks for watching. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching the video. Thanks for being with me. Ryan Michael Balla here. Check it out. These 4 are our powerful nootropic products. So start from the top. You're going to want to hear this. Number 1, the Cortex Stack. That is our powerful pre-made stack. This is the stack you want to take if you want to get work done. Let me just be serious with you. I created that stack running a company 18 hours a day to get my brain to have massive verbal fluency, total motivation, right? Total overall mental fluidity, lots of mental energy, lots of drive to work. Entrepreneurs need brain performance. We created that stack for people that really, really need brain performance and ain't messing around. The Cortex Stack, get it at livecortex.com. You will love that stack. Those digital guides, we'll start from the Racetam God Guide. That guide is a digital stack list of some of the most highly effective brain state specific Racetam stacks on the planet. Basically you're getting oxiracetam, piracetam, aniracetam, phenylpiracetam, coliracetam, faciracetam, nephiracetam, pramiracetam stacks, very powerful stacks of all those racetams laid out in that guide. The Noopept Pro Stack List is a giant list of sublingual, oral, and nasal Noopept stacks. So we've got just myriads of lists of very specific, very surgical Noopept stacks that are highly effective, time-tested. You take one of those stacks, your brain turns on, you will thank me. That thing is digital too. These are all digital, downloaded at livecortex.com. And then lastly, Smarter, Better, Faster is a digital guide that teaches anybody that's within the 1 to 2 year range of taking nootropics, how to take nootropics, how to think about taking nootropics, how to use nootropics surgically
to really get optimal brain performance, to totally dominate the realm of nootropics. It gives you very many stacks, my favorite stacks, everything from modafinil, caffeine, theanine protocols to aniracetam, microdosing protocols to uridine, ALA, Alcar, choline stacks to basically everything else in between them. If you want the most powerful stacks on the planet, if you want my personal stacks and my personal philosophy on taking nootropics, get the Smarter, Better, Faster guide. Get all these guides. Get all of this good nootropic stuff at livecortex.com. We make elite level nootropic products for elite level nootropic players. Are you one of them? Let's find out. livecortex.com. Make it happen. Thanks for being with me.